As brothers from a different mother go, the Audi R8 and Lamborghini Huracán have always been as starkly different as Loki and Thor. The loud Italian, usually resplendent in Skittles hues, has spawned myriad different performance variants, while the staid German has kept a much lower profile, prioritizing everyday usability over viral video-friendly drifty dynamics. That's changing in the R8's final year of production, at least for the 333 lucky buyers of the 2023 Audi R8 GT, Audi's most powerful rear-drive car ever. It gets a decidedly Lamborific Torque Rear drift mode feature, and we just had the chance to thrash this beastly barrister around the Circuito Monteblanco in southwestern Spain. GT gear. Just to recap the functional upgrades discussed in our R8 GT first look, this is basically a case of taking the higher power engine and slightly shorter geared and quicker shifting transmission of the R8 V10 Quattro performance model and making it rear drive. If you wonder why Audi couldn't just borrow the 630 horsepower Huracán engine, it's because that tune is incompatible with the particulate filter expected to become mandatory in Europe and already fitted to Euro R8s. However, the R8 GT gets unique forged wheels, a carbon fiber front anti-roll bar, of identical stiffness to the existing version, and reduced bulkhead sound deadening, all of which combines to shave 44 pounds relative to the current V10 Performance RWD model. Then there's the extensive aerodynamics package consisting of a front splitter, diplane flicks, side skirt covers, vertical elements on the sides of the rear bumper, a diffuser, and a rear wing suspended from the top by gooseneck supports to maximize underflow. The package is said to deliver double the downforce of the R8 Performance package, 660 pounds at the rated top speed of 199 miles per hour. And of course, there's the Torque Rear drift mode. Forget everything you know about the Torque Rear feature in the perky pocket rocket Audi RS3. That all-wheel drive system delivers its driftiness with a twin-clutch rear axle that can send all the rear wheel torque, at best half the total engine torque, to the outside tire in a turn. The R8 GT already routes all its torque aft through the same mechanical limited slip differential found in all R8s, which generates a fixed maximum of 55% lockup under power, 35% when decelerating. So here, Torque Rear is strictly a matter of programming the traction and stability control systems to allow 7 different amounts of rear wheel slip, using throttle and brake intervention to achieve the targeted amount of wheel slip. Setting up Torque Rear. The Torque Rear control is a knob on the lower left spoke of the steering wheel. Pressing the knob puts the 2023 Audi R8 GT in performance mode, an edgier step above the drive mode select system's dynamic setting. It's a little like Lamborghini's Corsa mode in that it precludes automatic shifting. From there, rotating the knob clockwise advances from positions 1 through 7, incrementally increasing the permissible amount of rear wheel slip. We got a glance at the target wheel slip percentage curves for each setting and noted that at about 15 miles per hour position 1 allows 20% slip and 7 allows 67%. At 45 miles per hour that range drops to between 5 and 34%. And by 90 miles per hour virtually no slip is tolerated in any setting. Position 4 is straight up when glancing at the dial that momentarily shows on the instrument cluster, and from this point on, the system no longer utilizes brake intervention to limit wheel spin or oversteer. Drifting the R8 GT. Audi set up a drift pad for us in the paddock and turned us loose in both RS3S and the new R8 GT shod in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, the standard fitment for Europe. We'll get Europe's optional grippier Cup 2s as standard, but they're not as great for drifting. Sure enough, with stability control off and Torque Rear dialed to 7, the car eagerly hangs out its tail with a deep stab of throttle. In this mode, it's totally up to the driver to coordinate steering and throttle inputs to establish and hold a drift. But on this surface, with these tires, at setting 3 it became possible to ease into a drift, set a steering angle, floor the throttle, and let Torque Rear sort everything out to maintain the drift. That's the value of the multiple settings. For different tracks and tire grip scenarios, one is sure to simplify the task of maintaining a perfect drift. Following our drift experience, we swapped into 2023 Audi R8 GTs on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires and hit the 2.8-mile, 18-turn Circuito Monteblanco for a few hot laps to assess this hottest R8's dynamics. As it happens, we'd just lapped its evil twin, the Huracán LP 640-2 Technica, 2 weeks earlier in California. So, is the R8 GT a Lambo light? Maybe. It's certainly as close as the R8 is going to come to rivaling an STO or Technica spec Huracán, but sadly just before each of our 2 lapping sessions, the leaden skies leaked just enough to preclude our rendering an absolute verdict on grip levels and the overall degree of confidence the car imparts. We ran dynamic mode and engaged the sport stability control setting, no drift mode, and still felt the rear end come around frequently, whether on the brakes or throttle. We never developed the confidence to switch off stability control and attack a series of corners as we had in the Technica. We also noticed the R8 GT's ESC intervening when we hadn't sensed slippage ourselves, and we felt the transmission slowing and softening some shifts to prevent upsetting the chassis. It wasn't feeling sure-footed itself, so neither were we. We can say the standard carbon brakes performed impressively, even in the damp. Braking force builds in direct relation to pedal force and travel, unlike in the Huracán Technica, which felt grabby and engaged too abruptly near the top. As validation, we got a few hot laps with DTM ace Frank Stippler in a full-on R8 GT3 race car, which wasn't getting around the corners too much faster than we'd managed in these conditions. When and how much? When 2023 Audi R8 GTs begin rolling out in early 2023, nearly half will head to the US, and those examples will be somewhat special. American spec cars get red diamond pattern stitching on the headliner and very few options. There's an adjustable coilover suspension option we won't get, we can't have Suzuka gray paint, a flat off-white, no great loss, and there's no sound muffling particle filter on US market cars. But the aforementioned Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires are standard, as are laser headlights, sport exhaust, dynamic steering, a Bang & Olufsen audio system, sport bucket seats, and unique carbon side blades, mirror caps, and sill plates. About the only option is the choice of 3 paint colors, Tango Red Metallic, Daytona Gray, and Mythos Black. Audi will build 50 of each color for the US. This forced $595 option is included, along with the equally unavoidable $1,300 gas guzzler tax and $1,495 destination charge, in our listed base price, which comes to a princely $253,290, just a shade more than the Huracán Technica's $244,795 opening bid.